So the last thing I want to talk about tonight, and I started talking about it last week, and I really didn't, catch up on it further, is TV shows I've been watching. Now, I've decided to go off the rails and just take full advantage of my Netflix, my Amazon, and so on and so forth. And I finished season one of the sci-fi TV show The Magicians, and right now it's in season two. In fact, the um, newest episode is airing right now. So if you're a magician fan, you're probably not watching this. But um, The Magicians was a surprisingly good show. I was told about it apparently last year or 2 years ago by my friend Steve, and hopefully I'll have him on so we could talk about it. But if you're a fan of Harry Potter, not just for the storyline, the main storyline of Harry Potter with the Goblet of Fire and Prisoner of Azkaban and all that kind of stuff. If you're not just a fan of all of those movies, um, if you're a fan of people approaching magic as if it's something you can learn, like in a school or something like that, Magicians is definitely for you. The Magicians, I can easily describe it as an adult, like Harry Potter goes to college. Like, goodbye Hogwarts, hello Breakbills. So the main story is an awkward kid finds out he is a magician and he goes to school for magic, and thus opens up a door in which he's not supposed to. Sound familiar? I mean, it's right out of a J.K. Rowling book. However, the themes behind it, the different classifications of magicians, and the ways that they move their fingers to do the magic tricks and all that kind of stuff, is really something that stuck with me, and really struck an interest in it. And traveling to this magical world of Fillory, which brings in this whole Narnia aspect of it, really does really kind of you know gets a sort of you know brings in that sort of fantasy aspect where there are creatures like a half man half goat type creature. There are there are different whatchamacallit, there are different different things, like a man with six fingers whose face is covered by moths. There are fantasy aspects of the film or of the movie that would bring you back to Lord of the Rings and Chronicles of Narnia. But all in all, the show really does bring this new sort of thought process that wizards and witches can learn magic, and if you're a muggle or a human, you can learn how to do magic just by reading a book and reading the hand signals in which to do these magic tricks and such. Um, it also kind of feels like what Doctor Strange was sort of doing as well, where it's kind of like the paranormal and fantasy and like the otherworldly kind of being brought into to this everyday life, and other than being taking place in Breakbills and Fillory, it does take place in New York City and other cities. So there is that reality aspect of it where these magicians have hideouts hidden within the cities and such like that. So it's a very good show. If you're into that fantasy kind of Harry Potter and Chronicles of Narnia type thing, definitely check out The Magicians. It's on Syfy. It's on season two right now. Netflix has all of season one, so you can binge that and then find a way to watch season two to catch up on Syfy. Chelsea and I just finished watching The Crown on Netflix. Season one was released a couple months ago, but with all the wedding stuff, we were a little preoccupied. Claire Foy plays Queen Elizabeth. John Lithgow plays Winston Churchill, the Prime Minister of England. And Matt Smith from Doctor Who fame plays Prince Philip, um, Queen Elizabeth's husband. Now, season 2 has been announced for The Crown, and we found out JFK will be in it, along with Jackie Kennedy. And Michael C. Hall from Dexter will be playing JFK, which I'm excited about because he will definitely bring that flamboyance and that sophistication that whatchamacallit, that JFK had, and I'm really excited to see Michael C. Hall bring that aspect in. Um, the uh, the main focus of The Crown is the upbringing of um, Princess Elizabeth to Queen Elizabeth, where her father, King George, passes away, and thus the crown is transferred from Queen Elizabeth to um, from King George down to Queen Elizabeth, and it shows the hardships of her first couple years as queen, dealing with the fallout from World War II, dealing with a smog effect over London, and Winston Churchill's um, detrimental health, and whether or not he can help run the country from the government side, where she can hold on to the divine side. But there's also a lot of family issues that she was dealing with her sister Margaret, and dealing with her husband Prince Philip, who pretty much figured, all right, I'll marry a princess. She won't have to be, we'll be able to enjoy our lives as prince and princess and duke and duchess. I'll never have to be king, or I'll never have to, move into Buckingham Palace, or at least when I do, I'll be really, really old and I won't have to worry about any of that. Well, guess what? He did, and now he has to stand um, in her shadows. He has to walk behind her, and it's kind of a disheartening thing for him to do, and you do see the hardships for it. In fact, you kind of feel for him that he has to do this, and especially back then where women were still not seen as equals, even though she was the Queen of England, and still is the Queen of England. Back then it was very right for him to have these sort of hard, feelings, and these hard negative thoughts of not wanting to be second to her. So it was a very good show, and the chemistry between all of them, between Claire, Matt, and John, was just absolutely fantastic. And John Lithgow killed it as Winston Churchill. And again, in watching a show that was mainly about Queen Elizabeth, I was rooting for the Prime Minister the entire time. So if you're interested in history and you want to see something about um, British history, definitely check out The Crown. Um, they all did a terrific job. I can't wait for season 2, and unfortunately, it's sad that John Lithgow might not be in it, or will be in it very, very small amount. But Michael C. Hall is as JFK will definitely, probably, most likely fill that void. So that's great. Another TV show that I decided to binge watch on Amazon is Mr. Robot on USA. Now, I'm 2 years late with this phrase, but oh my god, is that show fantastic! The overall darkness of a hacker getting in too deep with himself is just mind-boggling. How in depth everything goes, and it feels as though this is the nerds version of Fight Club. Tyler Durden is Mr. Robot, and it's all just about hackers. It's not about Fight Club. It's about F Society. And I was really pleased that they were able to bring stuff from Fight Club, not directly, but they brought some stuff from Fight Club down into a televised event and really knocked it out of the park for Mr. Robot. Christian Slater was great as Elliot's father, and it was just a fantastic show left and right. The hacking was great. The um, the I'm slipping into um, the overall darkness of being in his mind and being able to take on everything that he wanted to take on was absolutely um, just a great chemistry with everything. A little dark at times, a lot of blood, some deaths, some cutting off and cutting of things and stuff like that. But you know what? That's when you get into the world of hacking, that's what happens. I have no evidence to point that way, but that's all I could assume. But Mr. Robot is fantastic. Season 1 is on Amazon. If you have Prime, it's there. Season 2 you could buy for $25, or just find out a way to watch it on USA. Another show that we're watching that we have to see last night's episode of is This Is Us. That show pulls at my heartstrings, and if you've watched my old stuff about talking about Gilmore Girls, you know that I am not coy and not shy about sharing my feelings when it comes to shows about feelings. I am absolutely in love with This Is Us. The characters, the way everything was written, um the whatchamacallit, the themes with the families, the tying in of all the how do I say this? The tying in of the past with the future, and the twists and turns, and the real relationships. That's what really gets me, is that this TV show shows real relationships between a son who's meeting his dying father for the very first time, a man who's the same man who's going through so many things in his life that he's going through a a physical breakdown and has an anxiety attack, but this is an attack that he's seen before, and a brother who pushes him off every once in a while, and brings him back in, and is turns out to be the nurturing person that loves him. That's a very in depth emotional attachment that is not seen a lot of times in television shows these days. I mean, maybe you get it on every once in a while on a Shonda Rhimes show, mostly like Grey's Anatomy, but this to me feels closer to reality than any of these other shows I've seen. And I'm super excited to see where this goes and how it ends and how they continue this. I know last night's episode was meant to be a tearjerker, and I haven't seen it yet, so don't spoil it. Um, but yeah, so uh, I think I'm gonna call it after that. But definitely go check out This Is Us. It's a great TV show. But I want to thank everyone who came in and tuned in and watched. I know it was a little long winded tonight, especially with like the Batman stuff, but it's stuff I gotta talk about because it's stuff that interests me. And if I don't talk about stuff that interests me, then I'm just talking about Trump all day. Um, I'll probably be back on Sunday. I know the Oscars are this Sunday, but I have no horse in that race whatsoever. I haven't seen any of those movies. Um, and I really just don't, care. Maybe I'll watch some of the musical performances, but really, after the Grammys, I have nothing to contribute to society. I want to thank every single one of you for coming out and watching tonight. Be sure to always watch the TV shows out there. Um, you know, be sure to watch movies and read the comics that you want and definitely enjoy yourself and have a good time. I love every single one of you out there. I especially love you. You know who you are. And just enjoy yourselves and have a great evening. Goodbye. Oh, check out on Twitter. I've been posting a lot of things as of late because I found a new website that's awesome. Definitely check it out. I repost and post a lot of things. We've been getting some very, very few news about The Last Jedi. Star Wars Celebration released its poster for the 40th anniversary of the original Star Wars being released, and it looks awesome. But hey, don't take it from me. Why don't you go check it out yourself? Be sure to stay tuned for more stuff coming from me, and I will see you later. This podcast will be posted tomorrow as well as all the videos up onto YouTube. Have a great evening and goodbye.